hacking is really becoming a big headache, and hackers are becoming sophisticated day by day. How do we make sure that we proactively prevent these incidents before they happen for the customer?
So let's talk about those issues. For instance, is the salary pay gap still an issue in the IT sector?
We've been running these two pillars for quite some time now. The challenge we were facing is the scarce skills.
Can you just give us an example of what kind of subjects the youngsters are learning and why those subjects are important in the South African context where we're seeing rising cyber threats every day? Hello and welcome to ITWeb TV. My name is Sibahle Malinga, and this afternoon I'm joined by Mamela Luthuli, who's here to talk to us about the importance of safeguarding your cyber systems from cyber threats. And she's also here to talk to us about the all-important topic of
Women in cybersecurity.
Women in cybersecurity. And of course, being the month of August, we are celebrating and embracing women in the ICT sector. Mamela, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks to you, Sibahle.
It's such a pleasure to have you here. So tell us about what inspired you to establish a cybersecurity firm in a male-dominated industry.
Thank you for that. I think I was fueled by passion. And with hindsight now, I think I was quite brave, because I started in IT. I've been in IT for quite some time now. My business was mainly focused on end-to-end IT services. And then in 2013, I realized that on any digital platform, it has to be embedded on security.
Absolutely.
So then I realized that this is the niche market I can tap into and just establish myself in that space. But passion fueled me to get into the space and my curiosity to learn. You know, now this is those days we started with firewalls and antiviruses and just the evolution of technology. And so is the evolution of cyber security. You know, it's really fascinating to see it unfolding and to have an understanding and to be in the forefront of it.
Absolutely. And you know what they say, you need to be ahead of the hackers if you want to beat them. So tell us about the aims and objectives of your business and what distinguishes you from competitors.
Okay, so TechNet IT, so we took a strategic decision to say we're going to be purely focused on security. And in securing the digital assets and the physical assets. So TechNet IT has started with two pillars of the business, where we look on solving the problem by mitigating the risk for our customers. And we look on the digital world to say that, hacking is really becoming a big headache, and hackers are becoming sophisticated day by day. How do we make sure that we proactively prevent these incidents before they happen for the customer? That's the first pillar. And the second one, we looked on our environment, because we're always about solving complex challenges. We looked on, in the South African context, we're facing vandalism and cable theft. Vandalism of our infrastructure and cable theft. Again, we were saying, surely we can tap into the technology and try and mitigate the risk for the customer. So those are the two pillars of TechNet IT, where we're providing end-to-end solutions on cyber security, from pen testing to vulnerability scanning to corporate governance to monitoring your environment 24/7. And then we're looking on the IoT side of things, which is the Internet of Things, where we've developed the RFID tags in-house, and we all about early warning technologies to prevent the vandalism of the infrastructure and cable theft. So that's the essence of our business. And we've been running these two pillars for quite some time now. The challenge we were facing is the scarce skills. You know, the scarce skills of qualified cyber experts.
Yes.
It's a big challenge. Then this is what prompted us now to look and say, how do we bridge the gap? Because there's this demand of these scarce skills. With the same token, we're sitting with the highest unemployment in the South African context.
Absolutely.
Then how do we bridge the gap? This is when then the Cyber Excellence Academy was born.
Well, that
And-
brings me to my next question,
Yes.
because we're seeing a rising number of cyber threats in South Africa, very sophisticated cyber threats, and yet, as you mentioned, there is a huge shortage of cyber security skills. So, is that what inspired your Cyber Academy? And tell us about the model and the approach that you take to teaching these young people cyber skills.
Absolutely. So that's what inspired us to say, like I'm saying, we're always fascinated by challenges, to say, surely there must be some solution somewhere. And when we were struggling to get these skills as a security company, we realized that let's get the skills, the young people that have got metric, they've got aptitude to learn and ability to adapt. Agility is one of the key things we look on when we interview you. So we onboarded young people with metric, some with IT degrees. And we've been doing, we onboarded them, and they've been with us for 3 years now, full-time
Wow.
employment. And what is so exciting, our curriculum has got the theory side of things and the practical and the soft skills. So we are all about nurturing and mold these young people.
Can you just give us an example of what kind of subjects the youngsters are learning and why those subjects are important in the South African context where we're seeing rising cyber threats every day?
So we're sitting with 350 modules. So and the beauty about our system is that it's self-paced, and we're able to monitor what are you learning online. And with those modules, we produces your analysts, your resolvers, your security engineers, your pen testers. So from learning pen testing, ethical hacking, to learning how to mitigate when there's an incident, what do you do? So there's a full range of different modules that we equip, and really it's up to you how you accelerate your learning in the platform.
So the shortage of women in South Africa's cybersecurity space, and I suppose the global industry as a whole, is well documented. What do you think are the key contributing factors to such a low number of women that we see coming into the security industry? Yes, there has been improvement, but we are still dealing with quite a lot of discrepancies as far as that's concerned.
As far as I'm concerned, there's no improvement. The statistics of I mean, they speak for itself. How low women are in the
IT sector.
In the IT sector,
I think it's
especially in the
23%.
yeah, no, it's really appalling, the stats. I think the key contributors, in my view, is the barriers to entry are very high. You to start a cybersecurity company, you can't wake up tomorrow and say you're doing a cybersecurity company. The certification that is required, you need to be experienced and be in the environment, in the industry for quite a long time. That's number one. And number two, the investment, the education system is very critical because it starts at a lower level. The STEMs, like science and technology, we need to almost ingrain it into our young people that maths and science will determine your future. So it starts from way back in primary school up to varsity level, that we cannot emphasize the importance of maths and science, because this is where the future is going. Even if you want to be a developer, I mean, on each and every sector now, technology is key and critical.
Absolutely.
So I think from our education system to the highest barriers to entry, and the fact that women are still marginalized, it's the reality we're facing, and it needs different strategies to deal with this, and some encouragement, and just our leaders need to be intentional about accelerating
gender
the diversity in the sector. It must be a non-negotiable. And right now, it's still not as enforced as we would like it to be.
Last year I wrote about women in the engineering sector, and I interviewed quite a few women, and a lot of them were saying that they are seeing women who broken into the industry leave about 3 years later because of the discrimination and, so many issues that they grapple with. So let's talk about those issues. For instance, is the salary pay gap still an issue in the IT sector?
Absolutely. I mean, like I'm saying, the numbers don't lie. The statistics is there, is showing the discrepancies of if your counterpart, how much is earning and how much you're still earning. And those are the legacy issues, because if you are being onboarded for the new job, you're being measured on what you were earning from the previous job. So those gaps and those discrepancies still needs to be addressed.
So, in other words, a male cybersecurity professional would earn significantly higher than their female counterparts.
Yeah, because, for instance, these are scarce skills. And if I'm looking for this resource, and they will tell me that I'm on this salary bracket, and I want to onboard a female, unfortunately, she's in a lower rank than him. So we need to be intentional and be conscious about accelerating these women to be on the same par as their counterparts. And that's why I'm saying it needs us to be conscious of it and be intentional about accelerating their growth. If we don't do that, there will forever be this huge gap. And also, I think for me, for instance, the biggest challenge, the fact that you are a female, on anything you do, you must prove yourself 10 times.
10 times. You have to work extra hard.
Beyond scrutiny. It's hard.
Is that the experience that you're having at the moment?
Yes, that's my experience. Wherever I go, I'm not being taken serious up until I prove myself.
Wow.
10 times harder than my male counterpart. It's stereotypical. I mean, just on presentations, they kind of think that you are a front up until you open your mouth, and they kind of see that, oh, okay, maybe she's got some substance. But you always on the back foot as a female.
How do you think we begin to change those perceptions? I know that a lot of women in the ICT industry always talk about how even in the boardroom they would be overlooked when they have to put decisions and make input in decision-making areas. Their bosses overlook them, and they are overlooked to a point where some of them actually would rather take a lower ranking position where they don't have to prove themselves so hard.
I think, unfortunately, competency, in my view, what has kept me relevant and made me to earn the respect, and also made me to even win awards and all these accolades, it's because I perfect my craft almost on daily basis. You need to make sure that no one can falter you as far as your capabilities and competence is concerned. And understand that you have to go an extra mile on anything you do and be beyond scrutiny. Slowly, then you build, you inspire the confidence, and they start to respect you. And trust me, once you earn that respect, because you earn it, once you earn it, then they rally behind you. I'm surrounded by male guys because I've proven myself, and they've got confidence on my leadership. And they're supporting me now 110%,
And now we're seeing a lot of men actually coming up and saying, we need to see more women in the ITC industry. We need to see more women. We need to deal with the gender pay gaps. Perhaps let me ask you this then. Why do we need more women in not just cybersecurity, but in the ICT industry?
I think for me, diversity is key. From inclusion of youth to inclusion of women, to coexist with male counterpart, because we're also not fighting with them. All of us have got a role to play.
Yes.
So it's critical for us to get the diversity right. This is the future, and if we don't pave that way now, we'll forever having these challenges. If we, for instance, we bash men and say we're promoting a girl child, this girl child is gonna marry this rejected young male, so the balance of the two. But right now, the focus has to be on women, because there's a big gap. But once we need to strive to get to that balance of saying we all equal, it's all about what value can you add to the organization, and for me, diversity will forever be relevant and be key.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, there's also talks of how women are nurturers, and, they come in with a different perspective. They come in with, their own creativity. And so it's very important to have that type of diversity in every industry.
Absolutely. Actually, I always tell male colleagues that I refuse to change myself. I don't want to be a male. I embrace my feminine side of me. And I do believe that when I'm in the boardroom, I'm bringing that freshness, that fragrance of being feminine, you know, and I'm not apologetic about that. And it's high time that we must embrace who we are. And even from the management style of point of view, I'm a nurturer by nature.
Absolutely.
So I cannot get into the office now, all of a sudden I'm this monster that is just driven by bottom line. You know, in my essence of my being, that's not who I am. And I embrace the fact that when I manage, I've got that motherly instinct that is also must be appreciated rather than being criticized as I'm being soft or anything else. I embrace my feminine side.
So for somebody who's out there watching, what advice would you give them if they want to enter the cybersecurity industry?
It's not as difficult as as it's perceived to be to start with. Most of the time, they use the jargon that will intimidate you, and you think that this is rocket science. It's so running a cybersecurity business is like running any other business. You know, if you understand business skills, of course, you need to understand the fundamentals and learn the basics. But once you're there, you surround yourself with with brilliant minds around you, and that's all you need, you know. And so if you start with fundamentals of understanding cybersecurity, what problem are you trying to solve, and then you understand that you are a startup. What are the typical accreditation that you're gonna need, and then you start there, and then you will grow organically and just own the space, but passion plays a huge role.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Passion, persistence,
Yes.
and of course, a little bit of hard work.
And resilience, yes. There's lots of rejection. You need to,
wow.
you need to be resilient and understand that, you just have to have some grace and also understand that.
And have a fighting spirit.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying resilience and you have to be fierce at times. But, keep on grinding. When the other door closes, there will be another door that opens. That's the nature of the universe.
Wow. Now I'm so motivated. I don't want this conversation to end. Thank you so much, Mamela. It's always so inspiring chatting to women who are making moves in the tech industry, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Matle. Highly
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks for having me.